Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Test. There we go. I am so sorry, guys. You know what? I went and I got this new little toy to calibrate my monitor's colors, you know? And I guess I forgot to, like, set everything back up here. So, we're hearing the sound okay? Yeah, okay. I think we're okay. Minor little foible. Hey, listen, it looks like it could be go time again here this morning. So let me go to the charts and see if I can explain what I think is going on here. So yesterday in the treasuries, we had a retail sales report that was pretty dismal. Well, it wasn't pretty dismal. It was like really amazingly good. But for if you're concerned about inflation, it was like a super bad number. Oh, by the way, we're going to get housing starts here. I'm seeing a little bit of pulling, so let's come back over here and watch this for a second. This is not usually one that I really trade. Okay. Okay, U.S. housing start change month over month was 3.9% versus 1.1%. That's not good. Okay, anyways. So, we had retail sales was really strong, and so the treasury market just took a total plunge and then very quickly reversed, and there was a stop run that was extremely aggressive on the upside. And I suspect that it could be Bank of Japan action, and you can see here yesterday, they got to that like 145 area, and then they started getting pushed back the other way very, very aggressively. Now, note, right now, Japanese yen is above 145. So, if it was the Bank of Japan yesterday conducting a rescue operation of sorts, it did not accomplish anything, and we are right back over there again. And I have to wonder, will they step in again this time, or will they kind of admit defeat on this one? Because you don't want to trade against the central bank, but, you know, there kind of becomes a point where it doesn't really make sense for them to do it anymore. I don't know. So that's kind of what's going on over here in interest rate land. And we go over into the S&P 500, pretty quiet overnight, but we are languishing as we had a fairly negative session yesterday. One note is that Fidelity's systems went offline late in the day, and so some of this decline may be due to those retail traders just kind of getting cut out of the market. Okay. When we come over to oil, oil had a decent decline yesterday. They're still pretty high at 81. Natural gas also kind of getting hit. Gold and silver on, you know, after having a pretty decent like June and July, they are just getting destroyed here in August. And then we've got copper. Nothing overnight in copper, but I'm definitely getting like China headlines. Like the headlines that I'm getting over in China are like that the economic situation over there is getting dire. And their central bank is trying to act aggressively, but apparently not aggressively enough. And you got your Bitcoin. Bitcoin took a little bit of a dive yesterday and is slightly lower today. Not nothing too crazy yet. But I do. There is kind of a point at which there's going to be some people really upset in Bitcoin if they continue moving down, and you know, we're kind of close to what Michael Saylor's like break-even point is. And I don't know, the way that this always goes with me is like, okay, I'm in, and then it goes down, and I'm underwater on the position, and then it comes right back to my break-even, and like I have the opportunity to get out of it, and I don't do it, and then it like plunges on me, right? That's always how the way it goes. So I just kind of have to put that kind of scenario out there. Here's $1.103 right now. Okay, so interesting. I don't know why the treasuries were selling a little bit here, like on the open of the pit session. This puts us in a really, really curious position, right? Because the fundamentals, I think, suggest that we should have traded down yesterday, and the central bank, somebody came in and stopped it. It did something really weird. That means that we're above fundamental value, and we'll probably continue to stay here above fundamental value until somebody decides to trade against the Bank of Japan, essentially, right? So how does that work? Nobody wants to trade against them. So how this plays out today, I can only guess. Something makes me want to go towards, the fundamentals again, that people should have some incentive to sell because they're thinking, well, interest rates are going to have to go higher. But I don't know if the flows are actually going to be that. They could fight it again. Welcome back, Ostrats. Alan, good morning. Thanks for being here early. And Octavius, always here every day. Octavius, you've become one of the most dedicated viewers as of late, I think. So where does that put us? Okay, so first thing I think is I want to go to the platform formerly known as Twitter and just check and see if there's anything kind of curious going on. Interesting discussion that I've missed. There is a lot of people talking about Bitcoin lately, and it's kind of interesting. Binance motion for a protective order in the SEC Binance case. Yeah, good luck with that one. What's this? I love watching you while working. I wish I could configure Vim to actually have a browser tab in editor. I bet you we probably could set that up. Although if you were going to do something like that, that would probably be something that Emacs would be better at, right? Because Emacs was Emacs is very, very configurable. I never knew this about this whole thing until I really got into the thing. Emacs sucks. Well, I use Vim. I totally use Vim. But what I didn't understand what the draw was to Emacs. I was just kind of like, well, Vim has this amazing modal editor thing, and Emacs is not that special. Actually, Emacs is quite special because Emacs has configurations that allow it to do crazy, wild things that it was never intended to do and aren't anything even remotely close to a text editor. So if you wanted to watch videos inside of your text editor, I bet you'd be more likely to get it to work in Emacs than you would Vim. What language do you work with the most? Well, it's always changing. Right now we are doing Angular. So where I'm working right now, they're basically an Angular shop. They're an Angular shop with ASP backends. But they're moving away from the ASP pages and just going to, a straight API, straight API over there. And, and then the front ends being separated and being just pure Angular applications. So that's what I'm doing right now. And I do try to use my Vim. Although I tell you what, I've always had problems with using the Vim key bindings inside of Visual Studio Code. For some reason, it's like I want to go into insert mode and it doesn't recognize it or something. You know, it's like I have to push it multiple times to get it to go into the mode and weird things like that. And then I also have a problem where I feel like that if I go like a week without like really practicing it, that I lose a lot of my key bindings. I really wish that the Vim key binding scheme, we're getting so nerdy here, man. Oh my gosh. I really wish that the Vim key binding scheme, instead of it being based on like, okay, insert starts with an I, so it should be I wish that it was based more on area and, you know, which fingers you wanted to do things. Like one of the things that drives me crazy about Vim, and I think is one of the biggest things holding it back, honestly, is that copy and paste is P is to paste things, right? And what is copy? Copy is how come I'm not remembering what copy is? That's funny. Oh, yank. That's right. Yeah, Y. So it's Y and P. So if I'm a right-handed mouse user, I cannot, you know, copy and paste and use my mouse at the same time. I really think that the copy and paste keys should be on the right hand. Okay, so you can change it. You can change it. But like, you know, I think it would have been just better if it was built into it, or if somebody that had, you know, because there are some editors actually. I've found one editor that's better than Vim. It's called, what is it? Do I have it on here? I think I have it on here. I'll show you. I'll show you the editor better than Vim. Okay, wait. Username asks, any order flow software for free? So if you don't want to pay like a monthly fee for your order flow software, because of course you have to open up an account and all of that, and you have to pay the data fees. So there's just no way to trade futures 100% for free. But if you don't want to pay a monthly fee for the platform, you can go with Iron Beam. You can also, a lot of platforms like AMP has Quant Tower. Optimus Futures has a version of Quant Tower. I think even, yeah, it's Helix. Helix is the one that I think is better. Do I still have it on this machine? Oh, maybe I don't. Maybe I don't have it on here. Can I put it in the start menu? Helix? No. I don't know where I did it. Yeah, so I think the approach here is if you do not have a specific platform that you are interested in using, that what you should do instead of looking at platforms then is to decide on a broker and then pick your platform based on the broker, because the brokers will often have a platform that is free. And I don't think that the order flow tools that you're going to get are going to be quite as nice as like what I have with Jigsaw, for instance. But Quant Tower does have order flow stuff within it, and the DOM is suitable for doing what we do, and it gets the job done. Yeah, I use Windows for development. Sometimes I'll use the Windows subsystem for Linux, but well, if you're trying to trade for a living, I just want to put, just want to make sure that you're fully informed there. It's extremely difficult to do. Futures trading is a really great wealth enhancer, but it's not a very good wealth builder. And it can take a really, really long time to get into the profitable area, because, market is very statistically efficient. So you really have to like keep up with the market and know what's going on, following the news and everything like that. So it's really hard. If you're looking for something to make for a living, I always recommend, doing something else and having day trading as the hobby. You know what I mean? Okay, as long as you understand, because I get kids in here all the time that think that they're going to become millionaire day traders, and I'm like, that's don't put all of your eggs in one basket, right? That would be like as crazy. I saw this. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about this. It's crazy the stuff that the human mind can remember. I read this story of this girl. She had been married for like 12 years or something like that. And she wanted to be an actress. But, her husband had a really nice job. And so she always kind of took the L to support her husband's job, right? Well, eventually they had to move to like San Francisco or something like that because he was making big money, right? And she did not enjoy living in San Francisco, basically. And one of her daughters was kind of getting into acting stuff too. So basically she left her husband, moved to LA, and got an apartment and put it on her credit card. Can you believe that? Like, that is so crazy. I mean, first of all, because the living expenses out there are insane. And then to pay it on a credit card, and what are you going to be doing for work? Is acting, which is like harder than ever to get into right now. It's crazy, but like trying to become a successful day trader is kind of a similar thing, right? So I would really, it's not just like, you should be an adult. Like, I really feel like if you're going to get into futures trading, that you should have a really solid career where you're already making money and you have some excess capital, or that you're going to have excess capital in the future, Like, this is we talk about tech on here a lot, because the group of people that are probably like best suited to being able to do this are like these tech pros that, you make so much money from doing tech. Well, should you trade stocks then? So now that's a separate thing, right? So first of all, in order for like day trading to really be practical with stocks, you have to have more than what the pattern day trading rule is. So you really should have more like $10,000-$20,000 if you're going to trade stocks. I would also caution that the game in stocks is a little bit different, right? Yeah, say you had the PDT. So yeah, you're right. It's 25K. I don't know why I always think that it's 10. Okay, so in futures, the one of the advantages in futures is that you can see the stylized behaviors of order flow really, really well. And like everybody gets the data. So I can come over here and watch the treasuries and I have a really good idea of what's going on. And I can focus a lot more on like, what is the macroeconomic picture, right? What numbers were released today? What's the Federal Reserve going to do? What is going on in currencies, and kind of what sort of informational inefficiencies can I glean there? Okay. Now, when we move over into stocks, well, okay, the stylized behaviors of stocks, of order flow, are really, really strong in individual stocks as well. But there's also a lot more factors going on over there. And one of the things that's kind of difficult about the game with stocks is that you're looking for informational inefficiencies still, I would argue, at least. But there's going to be things about like that specific company that you're going to be trading, right? So how do you get a leg up against the competition on that specific company, right? It can be done, but it's a different game, right? You're looking for different type of information, and you have all of these different stocks to choose from. So the game with stocks is more about like having a big long list of things, seeing stuff that's moving, and knowing enough about the overall broad market and what's going on in individual stocks to be able to go into a specific stock and then start doing stuff, right? I would also say, there's a lot of crazy stuff you can do with options. And if you can get good with options, there's probably some edge in there. So the reality is probably that you would have probably have an easier time. Like if your goal was to make $100,000 a year from trading, I think you would be more likely to do it with stocks. Okay. But when you're just starting out, you're going to learn more from trading futures. You're going to learn more from trading futures because it's like, it's a little bit more pure. You know what I mean? So that's all I was trying to say. What about Sierra Chart's Denali data? I heard it's #1 in terms of accurate bid and ask data and not an estimate. Speaking on this, do you know if that data is significant? Well, so I personally have never used the Denali data. From what I've seen from other people, there's not really a huge difference between them. I gotta tell you, like, there is definitely data feeds that are better than other data feeds, and like the amount by which they are better is like astronomical. Okay, like Trading Technologies data is the best data, and it is so much better than what you get with Rhythmic and CQG. It's hard to describe. Like when you watch it on the DOM, you can see the differences. It's not as chunky. But in terms of like what difference that makes to your trading, it's maybe negligible, right? So the difference between like Rhythmic and Denali data, like, is one going to give you an advantage over the other? No, but it is good to know that Sierra Chart's data is really good. Okay. Now just keep in mind, because they have, like, when they go to their pricing page and everything, the way that they have everything split out is kind of confusing. And what happens is when you go in there at first, you say, oh, I'm going to go to Sierra Charts because it looks like it's the cheapest one, right? And you're like, oh, I only have to pay like $15 a month for Sierra Charts or something like that, right? But what you're going to find is when you go in to actually do it and you start reading the stuff, and all of a sudden you realize, oh, actually, I have to do the plan that's like $46 a month or whatever the deal is, right? And so Sierra Charts does not actually end up being significantly cheaper than its competitors like Jigsaw. I like being able to get historical tick and market depth. Well, I don't know. I've preferred to just watch my videos. That's how I do that. But I think my camera looks a little bright to me today. I guess probably nobody cares. Oh no, you know what it is? It's because I redid. Oh man, you know what it is? I got this spider thing. Where is it? Spider X Pro. You know, it's like one of those things you put on the monitor and it will change your color profile. And when I initially did it, and it showed me the difference, I was like, I don't know, this looks kind of green. But then after I did all of the monitors, I was like, oh yeah, now the color really does match closely between all of the monitors, and it does look better. And so what's happening is I'm looking at the camera, and now I want to change it. Like it is too bright. Probably if I came in here to the filters and turned off the LUT. I don't like it without the LUT though. No. What I'm saying is, what I said was, if you're trying to make $100,000 a year, you're more likely to do it in stocks, but that's like a really hard thing to do. If you're just starting out, you're going to learn more from trading futures. And it's much more practical trading futures with a small account. I like TT, the simplicity. I can focus on my framework and not get distracted by all the bells and whistles. That's a fair point. I mean, like, the thing that I don't like about Trading Technologies is that its DOM is not really very configurable. So I don't really get quite the same stuff that I do with Jigsaw, but their data is really nice, I have to say. always thought learning futures is so much easier because learning the market is better than analyzing everything, because if NASDAQ goes up, so as Tesla probably does the same. Well, yeah, and it's like, you know, you could have the entire stock market be going up for who knows why sometimes. It's just like trading the S&P 500 index is really hard. All retail traders seem to gravitate towards that, but I don't think they realize that's like the hardest instrument on the exchange to trade. Like, it really is. When I spoke to the traders at Goldman, you know, and they were like, what is it that you like to look at? What do you like to trade? And I said ES, and they just laughed. Like, they couldn't help but laugh. And I'm like, whoa, is that a bad thing? And they're like, well, it's just, I know that everybody goes to it. It's addictive. I've traded it. It's addictive. It's like crack for traders, but like it's really hard to trade. And the trader that I was talking to, they couldn't trade S&P 500. They said that they didn't understand it. That there was other people there that did have to trade that, and the stuff that they were doing was like made absolutely no sense to them, because they were doing like arbitrage between the exchange and between the futures and the index and all this sort of crazy stuff. It was like, and that was the other thing that I remember from that, is that that she didn't really go into it, but it kind of sounded to me that like, well, what the professionals were doing to trade the S&P 500 was like nothing even remotely close to what we do as retail traders. Okay, what do I need to buy access to ZN/10-year? Is the CME Globex enough, or do I? So I have the bundle. I think that if you just do the CME Globex, that they're just going to give you MES. They're going to give you ES and MES, and you might not get ZN. But the other thing is that you notice when I come in here in the morning, I go through all of the charts, and I'm showing you oil and gold and silver and copper, and sometimes I'm showing you things relating to the currencies, right? And so that's why I have the bundle. It's more expensive. It is. It's like $30 a month, right? But I find the bundle very valuable. Yeah, ZN in 10 years is CBOT, exactly. So you can come in and say, I'm just going to trade ZN and I only need the CBOT, and you can tell them, give me the CBOT package instead of the equities indexes package. Right. And then you would save the money, but I kind of think that most people just get the bundle. Yeah, but if you buy CBOT, you don't get MES/ES, correct. So if you want to have both, you should probably just get the bundle. So I think that what you can do is you can say, I want to buy, I think it's like $10. So I think it's like $10 for the ES and $10 for the CBOT, you know, and then you're saving $10 by not getting the bundle. But then it's like, oh, someday you want to pull up oil or gold because something's going on over there. You want to understand what's going on, and you can't, right? Yeah, there you go. The money you'd save. I definitely feel like that the amount of edge that you gain from being able to get the context from what's going on in other instruments will easily make you $10 or more a month and can justify the expense. Or you could just buy level 1 data. Good luck with that. I really don't understand how people trade without order flow. That one just drives me nuts. Like when you've been doing it for years and years and years, you know, I think you get really intimately aware with how price is just not the full picture. And in fact, price is kind of like the least informational piece of data that you get, right? You need the full order flow to really understand what's going on from a technical level. But most people are trading with just price. Most people lose, but I mean, most people are just trading with just price. So I don't know. Yeah, paying for data is the cost of doing business. You know what this really is about, Praveen, though, is that I think we're all still bitter about when the CME increased the data fees, right? I mean, it's been a few years now, right? But I'm still a little bitter about it. Because like the CME really sets itself up to be like the premier place for a total beginner that has nothing to come in and start doing stuff. But then they put all of these like weird barriers in the way, like the data fees and stuff. Well, okay. Because in terms of being able to understand the market, why, you know, what trading is, why trading is so hard, and the things that you actually you need to know and understand to really stand a chance at trading. I really feel you will learn those things better in futures. You really do. But the data fees and everything is like a huge barrier for a lot of people for whatever reason, you know, like $30 isn't really a huge deal. If you're trading futures, you really should be able to afford it. But it's like the mental aspect of it for most people. It's like, well, I'm picking up a monthly expense, and there's something about picking up a monthly expense for people that they're not willing to do. I find that weird. Like I found it really bizarre that only a few handful of people were willing to pay $5 to $10 a month for my NinjaTrader indicator suite. But then when we switched it over to you just pay $100 up front one time, that more people did it. And I mean like exponentially more people did it. Because like ultimately for the majority of people, because most people don't make it past 2 years, right? So most people, you know, they would have paid less by just doing the monthly thing in the end. But there's something about that mental aspect of having a monthly fee people don't like. If it makes you feel better, I bashed the CME guy about a month ago about fees at an event in DC, and he could not explain why the fees were so high. It's the perception of perpetuity. Yeah, I think it is. At least I think that's what it is. I mean, the other side of it is that it kind of forces you to think about it as a business to some extent, right? I mean, that's certainly what it is for me. Because for me, I have the ability to put a pretty decent amount of money a month into futures trading if I wanted to. But I don't do that. I just keep the small account that I have and try to build up the small account that I have. And yeah, most of the profits that I make just pay the data fees because I'm only trading one contract, right? And I'm not really looking to take on a lot of risk right now. But, you know, it kind of gives me that goal. Like I know if I should be making $30 to $50 a month. And I think it is kind of like a little bit of a mindset change that helps you a little bit. You know, this whole thing is you remember your brain is a neural network, and so the whole thing is, what is the information that you feed that neural network? What is like, how do you train that neural network? What's the optimal way to train? That's really what it's all about. And you know, sometimes you can be doing things or absorbing information or absorbing beliefs that really damage that neural network. So as an example, you know, if you believe that you're systemically oppressed, for instance, you know, like you could get into all of this wokeness sort of a thing, but it can also in a more kind of more practical thing for us, you can just believe that the market is out to get you, right? Okay. Well, so when you absorb a belief like that, what's happening is you're now coloring all of the information that you get when you're trying to train that neural network with that piece of information. And in some cases, it can completely destroy your ability to function. Like it can poison the network if you go down that path long enough. I mean, that's what's happening to a lot of people in our society, I think, is that the adopted beliefs that are toxic to like functioning in the real world, and so they like literally can't even function as productive members of society anymore, you know. And so maybe the belief could be true, like it could be true that you're systemically oppressed, or it could be true that the market is out to get you. Sometimes it sure seems like the market is out to get me, right? But it doesn't benefit you. It's not going to make you successful thinking about that and constantly thinking about that, because it ruins the network, you know? And so you kind of get into this thing where it's like, okay, once we understand what we're really trying to do, which is we're trying to train a neural network that's good at trading, then what our goals and what we need to do kind of becomes a little bit more clear. Because the sorts of things that might help that network is often not the things that you think, you know, like being your best, like exercising regularly and eating well is going to help you build that network well, probably more than almost anything else. You know, that's why they have all these studies about the people that exercise tend to be more intelligent and so forth. That there's this benefit that the exercise has to your brain. Trading ES options are 2 times the cost of... Oh, really? I don't know. The way that I see most retail traders try and use options is like, you guys are crazy. Don't get it. Don't get it. You felt that one? Hey, it's never too late to start improving your neural network. It's never too late. You do lose neuroplasticity as you get older, but it doesn't completely go away. And unless you're like 65 years old, you probably still have plenty of room to be able to learn this stuff. This is the other thing, you know, maybe that's just why I've been thinking about this a lot, but when you get into like neural networks, like for programming and stuff, the thing that a neural network is really good at is taking a lot of really, really different pieces of information and a really large number of them and combining them together into making a decision, right? Because often when you are getting into programming, the first thing that you kind of think about is like, I'll have this object that just has a series of information in it, you know, like a time price series, right? And I'm just analyzing that time price series, and then I do regression on that time price series or something like that, right? Like that's what we typically think of. But the neural network thing is really more like I'm looking at the price and the volume and this economic indicator and this economic indicator, or in the case of like these large language models, right? It comes into like where they have trillions of parameters, right? That's what the neural network is good at, is having a really large number of inputs and using that to make a decision, right? So that is perfectly suited to what we are doing here in the markets, is that we're taking a really large amount of information out there about what's going on in the market and things that could potentially move orders today and combining them together to make a decision about what we think the flows will be at this time and when there might be an imbalance, right? That's something that the human brain is good at. The algorithms haven't quite figured out yet. So there's another Linus Tech Tips video, but I'm kind of avoiding getting into that yet because we're having a good conversation and I do want to make sure we answer all the questions about platforms and stuff. I find it kind of interesting that as of late, those questions come out like at the beginning of the stream. Are you guys like watching my regular videos and then at the end I say, oh, and I stream every day, and you go, oh, well, I have a question and I want to ask them on the stream. And so you wait and get there right when the stream starts to be able to ask those questions. Because it used to be that I wouldn't get questions like that until after the S&P 500 opened. So I find it interesting that over the last few months, it kind of changes pretty much. Well, that's good. I mean, that's the intention. That means that like the funnel, I guess you could call it, is working the way that it's supposed to, right? I guess. Because the whole thing is you go and watch the videos, and then if that's really for you, then you go and you come and you join us on the stream, and then you become a part of the stream and help us. So I saw a couple of things come across on Twitter here, but they're not too... Feeling a little hot today. I don't... You need to speak faster live. I'm not. I'm used to not being able to 3x the V. I totally do that too. Oh my gosh. Okay, no, you know what? I did something on this that was probably like really bad. Okay, so like back in 2020, there was another YouTube channel with a guy that I kind of think is a little crazy. Like he's got some sort of narcissistic personality disorder. I don't know what the deal is, but he was criticizing my channel, and I really felt like the criticism was kind of like didn't even make sense, because like the thing that he was complaining about was that like we have affiliate links. I was like, yes, so we have affiliate links for the services that I use and that I know will be the most useful to other traders. I don't see any problem with that. What's wrong with that? But that's what they were criticizing, right? And this guy just was like, he was spent like the whole week talking about it. And he had these live streams that were like 6 hours long that were where all he did was talk about me. This guy that I really don't know and care about at all, but he just was like obsessed for some reason. And he's saying like disparaging things. He was making fun of my appearance, accusing me of being a scammer. Like, you know, like I'm sitting here like at some point I may have to do something legally, you know? So I really didn't want to watch the videos because, you know, watching that sort of thing, it's not good for your emotional state, you know? It was really rough. I found it very, very stressful, even though like nothing was actually happening. It was just somebody saying stuff, but it was incredibly stressful for me. So I felt like I needed to watch through those videos and like take some notes and keep track of any information in case it ever came down to something, right? So I watched the video. I don't understand how you can accuse somebody of being a scammer when they don't do anything. You barely trade for bucks. I definitely don't trade as much as you would expect somebody in my position to do, don't I? I don't know if I'm going to take a trade today because I came in here thinking that like we might see some crazy stuff, and it kind of hasn't done anything for the first 45 minutes. So kind of looks like a dead market to me. No. But you know, like Jigsaw, I love the Jigsaw software, you know? I tell you, everything that I have as an affiliate link in the video description, I went and talked to them. I said, this is a good thing. I want my viewers to be able to use, you know, I want ways to, you know, to bring that to my viewers' attention that, you know, this is something that can help me. Right. So that's why when I got the affiliate links, and I only got affiliate links for things that I knew I was using myself and that I knew would be useful to people. Right. Yeah, that's a scam, not trading and selling indicators and affiliate links. We do trade when I really feel like I have a good trade, but I try to be the sniper, right? I'm trying to be the sniper, only taking the trade when I really have a good reason to think that I know what the flows are going to be. Oh, so it looks like our playlist ran out. Anyways, so I watched these videos, and of course, I'm not going to sit there for 6 hours, right? So I played it back like super fast, right? I played it back super fast, and that kind of like, I think that kind of had a negative effect on me, because now, like, I'm sitting here watching this guy talking like a chipmunk, you know, and just like absolutely despising, you know, the things that he was saying, because this is just so crazy, you know. And so now I kind of feel that a little bit sometimes when I'm watching videos and I turn them on 2x speed, because I do that a lot. I do that a lot. Yes, he sounds like a mouse, and it made it funny. Exactly. If you need toilet paper and I'm selling it, I'm not scamming you if you think about buying some shit tickets from me. Oh, this is not what's supposed to be playing. Good grief. I love that song though, by the way, Night Punk. Don't take my video down, Night Punk. I love your music. Okay. That's what it was supposed to be playing. Oh my gosh. Anyways, I don't know. It's, you know, the other thing that's kind of weird about it is that I'm extra. I mean, maybe it was a good thing, because I you know, it's so, you know, that's something that like burns its memory into your hippocampus or whatever it's called, down, you know, where your emotional memory is, you know, like you get triggered by it. So anytime that we're thinking about doing something like, oh wait, hold on, what's going on? There's another piece of news that I forgot about. Industrial production. I know, right? Ooh. Interesting. Okay, so the number is U.S. industrial production month over month expectation spot 3, actual 1%. And U.S. manufacturing output month over month spot 5 versus an expected 0. So despite the really negative PMIs in the manufacturing sector, industrial production and so forth is actually, they're actually still outputting a decent amount of stuff. The market seems to be reading that as inflationary, and the market did move quite a bit, because that is a number that like usually does not move the market. So that was much more of a move than you usually get. It looks like it's kind of evening back out, but let's try and keep a better eye on this, okay? It's like feeling like you're being scammed every time you go to the grocery store because it sells 5,000 items you don't intend to buy. Sure, yeah. I mean, like ultimately, I have no qualms with promoting a product that I believe in, you know. So anytime that something like this comes up, because I've kind of been traumatized by this, I give things lots of extra thought. Like there's this one that it really took me a lot of convincing to do. So somebody wanted me to review a docking station for a laptop that allows you to connect up 3 monitors. And at first I was like, well, I've had other people want me to review these sorts of devices, and it's just not really my thing, and not so sure that it really matches up with the audience correctly. But this person, like, they had actually watched the channel, and they had like a well thought out argument as to why it would be beneficial to the channel and everything like that. So I agreed to do that one. The other thing was, it was kind of like didn't really fit in with my current setup. I mean, I do need a docking station for my laptop, but I don't right now. I just turned the laptop on and I connect to it with RDP. So, but you know, I thought about that one for a really, really long time. before eventually doing it. So it's probably good that I have like that extra caution, because anytime you endorse something, you put your name on it. And it's not like I'm huge, but it's good to get into that habit now. There's just like, there's this other thing like we haven't talked about this Linus thing today. I don't know. There looks like there's another video, and maybe I'll watch that after the stream. But the thing that I see with that, like where I feel like the big process mistake was made with that one was like somebody sent them a device and then they were supposed to send it back, which is kind of like out of process. Like normally that doesn't work that way. They just give the product and it stays. And sometimes, because for me, they'll say, oh, we'd like to send you this device or whatever. And then they don't actually send it until like 3 weeks later often, right? So like it's really delayed. So I totally understand why those guys over at LTT, they maybe they knew that they needed to send the thing back, and they weren't quite sure what to do about it because they had accidentally auctioned it off and they needed to pay somebody. And so maybe they were like waiting on somebody internally to make a decision or something like that, right? But if they had just handled it like every time that they had received an email, they responded to it same day, right? They wouldn't have had the problem. Because that was the whole thing, was like the guy said, so are you going to pay for it? And then Linus Tech Tips hadn't responded for 4 days when the video came out. So this doesn't mean that they wouldn't have paid for it if they hadn't had all the drama. They should have responded the first day. And so I think that's something that I'm going to remember now, because I will often get like emails from people that I don't want to deal with. And so I'm like, it's reasonable to wait a day. So I'll tell them tomorrow or something like that. But now I'm like, a lot of the time I just don't respond to people because they want me to promote something, and it's just really not in line with the core of what we're doing here. Like they want me to do sports betting or something like that. I'm not gonna put in affiliate links for sports betting. It's too far off the path of what we're doing. But I just ignore those ones. But the people that I want to respond to, I'm now like really hardcore. Like I have to do it the day that they get back to me, because that's what screwed Linus Tech Tips over. I think that's the mistake that they made, was just that the employee that was handling that didn't respond same day. If you're working with somebody externally, it seems to me that the smart thing to do is to respond same day. I don't know, what do you mean by isn't that the business model of Costco? That you go to Costco and then you see all of these other things that you want to buy? It does seem like when I go to Costco, I usually end up spending more than I intended. But ultimately, I save money from going to Costco. Yeah, family. When you have a family, you definitely save money from going to Costco. Okay, so where are we at with the market? We kind of moved up a little bit and came down. I'm not seeing anything interesting in the flow since the news. It's maybe a little bit illiquid, but not too bad. And we're about 10 minutes before the S&P 500. I haven't seen too much movement or anything like really going. The S&P 500 I feel like has been really quiet, so the open will probably be a little bit more dominant than it usually does, even if they don't actually do anything interesting, right? Oh, it was responding to Uzi's comment. They put stuff there that you don't intend to buy and you get it anyways, yeah. So here's the thing that I find so interesting about Costco is the store brand, the Costco store brand, the Kirkland brand. That is so, because you'd think, I thought, if I go to Walmart and I get the Walmart brand of something, basically what it is it's a generic, and they're just outsourcing it from somebody else, right? They're just outsourcing it from somebody else and slapping their name on it and making it cheaper, right? So it would be easy to assume that that's what Costco is doing with the Kirkland brand, but but apparently not. Like, apparently when Kirkland goes in and makes products, maybe they do it with some things, but usually when they make a product, they're like, okay, we're going to make like the nicest thing of anything, right? So like they went and like with golf balls. So this crazy thing with the golf balls is they're like, okay, we're going to make a golf ball. And so then they went and they made like the best golf ball. And it was on par with the currently existing best golf ball. But it was like way, way cheaper. So everybody was going and buying the Costco golf balls instead of the Titleist or whatever it was, until Titleists sued them. And Kirkland felt like that they had done their own research and came to their own thing, but the court said that it was like similar enough that they were breaching patent or something like that, right? So then Costco just went and made an even better ball. It's like... It's kind of funny the number of things out there that it's like you don't think would need to be optimized or have somebody make a really, really well done product for them, but then somebody does anyways. So I'm frequently running up into like I do so many weird niche things that I run into this roadblock where it's like, you know, there's just not enough people out there making it to make one the way that you want it to be. You know. Like, I did making rack mount cases. Like, I really don't feel like it should be $300 for a rack mount case, but that's because not very many people buy them. That's just the way that it is. And the rack mount case is great, but it's not nearly as cool as the desktop case that I had. The desktop case had so many unique features, and especially the soundproofing on it made a huge difference. You know, the rack mount case is just a big metal chaser, so you kind of feel like, I spent all this money and it's just the bare minimum. But that's rack mount stuff, right? I run into things like that all the time. Spend money, save money, yeah. Well, here's what I've been finding, though, is that, like, the problem isn't that people don't want to think about saving money and not spending too much and things like that. The problem is that a normal household's balance sheet becomes complex enough that you really can't keep track of it all in your head. And you may end up tracking like one metric on it, but I've kind of found that I have to have like a ton of different spreadsheets to keep track of everything, like what's coming in, what's going out, and like the dates of things and everything. And then categorizing the spending out to really manage it correctly. And so that's where I think that a lot of middle class families end up making a mistake. Is they get to the point where it's like, well, I don't have to worry about overdrawing the account, and so they don't really keep on top of it anymore. They think I can just kind of wing it from there. When really, if you really want to really like build wealth, you have to like really track it meticulously, because your brain just does not have enough memory to keep all of that, you know? Because I know that for me, like if it was just me, no problem, right? If it was just me, no problem. But I have to worry about, my wife might decide that we need something and she's going to go to the store and get it, you know? And so to keep track of everything, I really have to like use real tools. And even then I'm kind of slow on it. Like I kind of wait longer than I should to, like, for instance, transfer stuff to the IRA or whatever the deal is. I'm trying to decide if that push back towards the lows there a little bit earlier is a big deal or not. 4.22 feels like an awfully tempting price. Should also keep in mind it is a Wednesday. It is a Wednesday. Well, just here before the E-mini, we should kind of take a little review over what's going on. So the treasuries did fall a little bit on that industrial production news and then jump back up. S&P 500 hasn't really done a whole lot of anything. On our leaderboard right now, biggest winner is corn and soybeans. Corn up 0.87%. Silver up 0.35%. But most markets over here, including both treasuries and equities, are down slightly today. And yes, I agree, Octavius. It's like they move back into summer trading so quickly, right? It's like, oh, there's something going on. We're going to see something. We're going to see some fireworks. And like maybe you do. And so then you think, oh, well, we might continue to see some volatility off of that. But then it just like goes back to dead so quickly. Spend money to save money? Well, I don't know about that. Sometimes yes. Sometimes you can buy something and you buy the nicer version of it. There's another thing that I am kind of struggling with is that like I am used to doing everything myself, and there are some situations where I should just pay somebody else to do it and save the time, right? I think what I need to do is I need to find a babysitter. Like, I think we should find somebody that's like... Because I do have like a 15-year-old, but he's a boy. I think that I should find somebody that's more like, 17 or 18. That Melissa's comfortable with, that can watch the kids. Because that's kind of the issue, is like having the other kids watch the kids. I don't completely trust them, because those kids, Asher, you have to watch. You can't take your eyes off of him. You take your eyes off of him, he might kill his brother. Like, literally, I am genuinely concerned that Asher could kill his brother, because he just does not understand certain things. And I don't like, if they were sitting at the top of the stairs, he might think it's funny to push his brother down the stairs. I don't think he understands that could kill him. You know? So it needs to be somebody that's really responsible, and my kids are not quite there yet. And like today, oh my gosh. So I wake up and I come downstairs and she's already downstairs with him. So apparently he basically never went to sleep. Like because he took a late nap. He took a late night nap, and that often makes it hard to get him to go to sleep. Okay. But she got him to go to sleep at 12 o'clock. And then he woke back up again at 2, and had been up since 2. So she'd been up for like 3 or 4 hours, right? Meanwhile, the younger one, the 1-year-old, he's upstairs sleeping with me. So he's going to be awake, and somebody has to watch him. And I don't trust the girls. This is where we should have somebody. So... That's something where I think I could spend a little bit of extra money and free up some time. Because what's going to end up happening today is that it's probably going to be a constant drain on my attention. Unless my wife is somehow able to tough it out and just stay awake all day, which I really don't think is fair to her, but geez. So that's just one example of like, you can buy yourself time, essentially. And I'm not used to doing that. And it's not the first thing that comes up to my mind. But there have been a couple of situations where I've been like, I should have had somebody else do that. Like one thing that happened was we got these shelving units to hang from the ceiling. Okay, super cool. Really glad that we did it. It makes the garage a lot nicer. But did we really need to do it at that time? No, we did it because it was taking up room in the garage, but like ultimately it was like a lot of work and a lot of time, and I could have made a video that week, Do you have any advice for traders in FOMC? In your experience, can you describe how to price move on FOMCD? Okay, so I have a video. It's actually, unfortunately, one of the worst performing videos, but it has like some of the best information in it. And it's how to trade the Federal Reserve. Oh, that's not where I wanted to go. Your channel. How to trade the Federal Reserve. I think that I'll have to go into videos to find it. There you go. How to trade Federal Reserve policy. Oh. Share. Copy. Okay, so... Oh, and then we'll bring it over here and I'll give you the link. Maybe it doesn't do as well because people don't like the dark gray shirt. I don't know. But anyways, I go into everything about trade, not just FOMC day, but like the whole cycle, because there's kind of a news cycle that happens between FOMC days, right? And then I go over the way that the FOMC itself actually plays out. My general experience has been that it's super dangerous to trade FOMC day because basically every trader out there is sitting there watching it with an itchy trigger finger waiting to do something. And so because of that, the market will end up doing really bizarre things. Like the market will latch on to the most insignificant of things and just run, and people just go with it. And so it's often better to focus more on the day after, that sort of a thing. So because it can be really volatile. I mean, every once in a while they're like, you get a key piece of information, and sometimes even a piece of informational asymmetry, and you can trade it and you can make a lot of money. But for the most part, it's usually kind of dangerous to trade. So, but you got to watch it. You learn more from watching that, especially that press conference. He teaches you so much about central bank policy, you know? Like all of this misinformation that I'm constantly seeing on TikTok about the economy, they wouldn't be saying all of this stuff if they just watched the Federal Reserve meetings. Oh, so the S&P 500 has started, but it's, I barely even noticed. Hasn't been a huge change in cumulative delta. We are seeing the dollar decline here a little bit. We should keep in mind that the Chinese are still out there selling dollars to buy yuan and so forth. So that could be something going on. Although it seems to me that the euro is being a little bit more dominant at the moment. I mean, the Japanese yen is starting to rise as well, but not as much as the euro, I think. Oh, what was this? I thought this guy was talking about Linus Tech Tips, but it's something completely different. Summer ends in a month. So much for the Ukrainian summer offensive. If they don't find a way to make significant gains soon, they won't be able to try again until next spring. He's right. I think that the good news on the Ukrainian front is that I don't think that they expended too many resources. I mean, they did lose resources, don't get me wrong, but they still have the majority of their forces in reserve. So I don't think that too much harm was done, but it really does make you wonder what's next here, because really seems to me that the Biden administration is pretty all in on Ukraine, right? They are all in on Ukraine. And I don't see the way forward, because it really looks to me like this turns into a stalemate from here, So how do you work that out? That's probably not going to be very good for Biden. If that's the status quo come the next election, I don't know. I initially thought it's going to be really bad for Biden. Or sorry, I initially thought it's going to be really bad for Republicans if their nominee is opposing the Ukraine war, and the public basically believes that if the Republican wins, that they will instantly defund Ukraine, when the public overwhelmingly supports Ukraine. You know, and I am still concerned about that. But having, you know, if it's in a stalemate and the American public kind of feel like that this overall endeavor has been a failure, that's really going to hurt Joe Biden, isn't it? And the problem is, on that side, is that the government has spent a lot, and the deficit spending is like at recession levels, you know, in order to fund all of that. And it's having like really bad effects. Like, man, can you imagine? So first of all, some people think that we're not going to get back to 2% inflation. A lot of people think, a lot of really smart people think that we're going to get stuck at 3%. Looks like that was a pretty good stop run there. The dollar is just getting creamed. Something's definitely up. Well, maybe it's the Japanese. You know what? I think I'm gonna be a little conservative here at first, but I think that we're probably okay to try and see if this runs, because I'm getting those same vibes again. Okay, anyways. Reading the previous, which one? The one about a Costco? Okay. Discord is now telling me the installation got... Oh, that's really bizarre. That's not normal at all. Asking me to erase the folders and that you know what, what you just said there concerns me a little bit, Lucas. I would not just restart the system. So question number one is, do you have like a really good virus scanner on your system and or malware bytes? And if you have malware bytes, I would maybe run a malware byte scan first. Because that is a really bizarre, especially if you're like on an SSD. Like that doesn't just like get corrupted like that. That's really bizarre. And then they ask you to restart your machine because of it. That could be a virus trying to get you to restart the machine so that it can like embed itself in the system. So I would run a check first. That's really weird. Well, you have a link here about Windows installation corrupted. I don't know. Just make sure that it's legit, right? Anyways, what was I saying about Ukraine? Oh yeah, could hurt Biden in the election if Americans are unhappy with the outcome of the Ukraine war. Yes. But who knows? Maybe it doesn't matter with all of this, like Donald Trump getting indicted stuff and everything. It's just like politics is so hard right now because the things that are happening are so zany. I have nothing to really compare them against to really know what's going to happen. I use Thinkorswim. Looks like well, yeah, you can use Bookmap with Thinkorswim. A downfall of empires. Well, I don't know if there's going to be a downfall of an empire, but it's certainly hurting the United States, isn't it? Yeah, well, I was talking with my uncle yesterday. We were spray painting the legs for my table, you know, and I was saying, you know, like even if it was not their intention, that's clearly what has happened. Is like the American public does not have confidence in the American judicial system anymore to be fair. My uncle is conservative. My uncle is like, oh my gosh. Okay, so he was one of those guys that, you know, he really wanted to get out of the house. Like as soon as he had the first opportunity to, when he got out of high school, he left and went off on his own. I think one of his first jobs was like working in a paint shop. Okay. But he has since that time become like a prepper level conservative. You know what I mean? Like he's a prepper. And he loves country music. So I would say that he's very conservative. But yeah, you know, it's just like mind-boggling to me, all of this stuff that's going on, where it's like they go and they indict Donald Trump for keeping documents, something that basically every president does, and something that Joe Biden himself did when he wasn't president. When he was vice president, he had the exact same thing. They go and they indict Donald Trump, but then they're not willing to indict, say, Hillary for having that email server and lying about it in order to like get around all of these federal laws or around communication and everything. And they just like delete it. Like that is just so sketchy. And then they're like, oh, no, we're not going to investigate it, you know? And yeah, there was like that last second thing where it was like, actually, we're opening it back up. But then in the end, they didn't do anything. Right? Yeah, I don't see how anybody can look at what's going on right now and say that the American judicial system prosecutes everybody fairly. And then there's the Hunter Biden thing. That's really crazy, right? They're investigating him. With multiple whistleblowers come out and say that like there are people like holding up the investigation and they're not being allowed to do what they think they should be doing to prosecute the guy, right? So then they do prosecute him. And they give him this sweetheart deal that lets him completely off the hook. And it's like such a crazy deal that the judge says no, right? So then what happens is they decide to appoint the guy that was trying to give him the sweetheart deal as special prosecutor. Like, what? That is just like, it is like such brazen corruption. It's just like, I almost can't even process it anymore. It's just like so wild to me that, you know, my whole life, people have always been saying, oh, you know, this dirty thing happens in government, this dirty thing. And it's always kind of under the covers. Like if you really knew what was going on, you know, you'd be really shocked. And now it's just like, it's blatant and everybody can see it and nobody can do anything about it. This is what we're talking about. And that makes it really hard for me to understand what's going to happen next with politics. Because I just, how can people see that and say like, oh, I really think that Joe Biden deserves a second term, right? But then, like, I really don't think that the American public is going to vote in Donald Trump again. And I'm not so sure that I really feel like Donald Trump is the right choice anymore. I was okay with it when he became president before, but now I feel like, that the well has kind of been poisoned, and I don't think that he really did that great of a job when he was president. I think it showed promise, but in the end, he wasn't able to overcome the significant issues. It just made the big issues worse. I just don't see a way forward. And I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. Although the way that liberals feel about it with that is very different, right? Because the thing that bothers me is that liberals seem to have absolutely no qualms with using their government position for political purposes, right? In fact, the liberals seem to think that using your political position or your position at a job or whatever it is to further political causes, that they think that that's a virtuous thing. It's a little scary to me that this has become this thing of flaunt your political power to push your agenda because your agenda is so good and virtuous. That's such dangerous thinking, man. Such dangerous thinking. What's this? Speaking of which, here's a Interactive Polls 2024 National Republican primary. Trump 60%, Ramaswamy 13%, DeSantis 8%. Yeah. You don't think that Trump will be a president again? Well, I don't know if we have to think that far ahead, right? The first question is, will he be the Republican nominee again? And it's really looking like he's going to be the Republican nominee again, man. It's really looking like he's going to be the Republican nominee again. I don't know how you can go forward with that. I don't know. Do you see this? There was one, I think that this is kind of more of like a fear-mongering poll of sorts. The media will do this from time to time. But they were basically saying if Donald Trump doesn't win the primary, that the GOP could lose like 35% of its voters. Really? Is it really that bad? Are people really that dead set on having that one guy? Insane amount of knowledge in that video, Seth. I think the title is the problem why the video didn't do well. Is it? I have a okay. I'll take him down and look at it. The main thing I was going for is to have Federal Reserve in the title. I don't know what else to do. And I thought that the thumbnail was funny, but I don't know. I guess people didn't think it was funny. Well, so here's what my thinking was at the time. Because as soon as I posted the video, like the first comment that I got on there was like, oh, ha, ha, ha. Like, you can't trade this stuff. That's so dumb. Like I think that ultimately most retail traders believe that sort of stuff is useless, that you can't actually trade those things because they've had too many experiences of watching the market and seeing a reaction in the market that didn't make sense to them. Well, on this trade, it seems like the initial spot that I caught was okay. I actually did get 8 ticks of favorable excursion, but now it's coming back. And so I'm a little concerned that this flow is not turning into what I thought it was. Because if that was what happened, it was like the Japanese came in and just gave it a little bump, and now they're walking away, because that's kind of what it feels like. Come on, man! I'm trying to help you guys, and you're leaving me high and dry. Thought we were friends, Japan. Thought we were friends. I think now is a good time for me to come over and check zero hedge a little bit. Why is there such a frenzy to buy up the properties that were just burned down during the fires in Hawaii? Yeah, I was wondering. That one doesn't make sense because I don't think that that's on an island where there's like really huge real estate demand. Despite rebound, U.S. industrial production remains lower year over year. So the dollar definitely made like a huge move there and is kind of retracing possibly now. So I definitely feel like it gives me some reason to question my trade, right? I don't think that it's completely over yet, mostly because I got an okay spot, but what's the E-mini doing here? And it looks like they had a decent 20-point rally and is now reversing. And Treasury's showing a little bit of wiggle around here in the 28 area, huh? They've been up and down through this, slipped up and down through this a few times now. Twitter seems quiet. Is there something wrong with my Twitter? Because I haven't seen anything come through on my traders feed in an hour. No, I think it's just a quiet day on the Twitter front. Everybody's on vacation, I guess. Okay. Guess I puke. I'm not happy about doing that, but I feel like I need to take to heart the lessons I learned last week and just take the initial loss, right? It really shouldn't be doing this here if I was correct about that trade. So I suppose that if it really does start to go, that I can turn around and try and get in again if they really do come in again. But I'm not so sure that what we saw there was actually the same thing as before. Yeah, because the Japanese yen seems like it's like we're going to retrace this all the way. This move that we saw here in the dollar definitely coincided around the S&P 500 open as well, which I think is key thing to note and different from what happened yesterday. So I can see them hitting into 28, but there's an iceberg there. It's not necessarily what you want to see. Does kind of look like I might have been able to recover $5 of that, though. I am seeing the flows go along. I'm not sure if the little bit of rising cumulative delta that I'm seeing in ZN really matters, though. I think I need to step away from it. Something that I'll do often is, take a trade and get scared out of it, and then want to get back in it again and then lose again. Like, and I'll try the trade like 3 or 4 times before it finally works, and then it's just break even. So I don't want to do that. I really need to be sure that like it really is, the flow really is coming into the upside before I would do that. Has been about 20 minutes too, so it might, another thing could be maybe we just need to wait until 8:20 and then maybe we'll see something. Fitch may reassess China's A+ credit rating if debts balloon as economy falters. That last little move there looks a little more positive. I'm going to do a little test here. I'm going to bet you that they don't fill this yet. In fact, they moved down when I put it in. Oh, that's the worst. Okay, let's see if they're ready to go this time. What's this? I just heard something over the news squawk about tariffs and stuff. I don't know if that's actually a major story or not. Kind of sounded like political posturing sort of stuff, but it was relevant enough to where we're kind of seeing the action that am wondering if maybe that's what was going on. I'm gonna reset the volume in here. We did come back like what, 2 ticks? There's a significant stack there at 29, even though the 5 and 30 weren't going. I find a little curious. Uptick. And look, there's actually a little bit of volume chasing it now. So that's a good sign. You got the most beautiful... No, you did not. Right where I got out, you asshole. You totally traded my exit. Ugh. Octavia says no edge. It's hard to tell here. I mean, I still feel like that there's something coming in long again. But like you notice every time it starts to do it, then it kind of goes, actually maybe we're not going to do that. So I did see like there was some significant ticks and stacks in there, but then it all collapsed, didn't it? If you scratch this time, you'll be mad. Let's see. The one issue I do see here is that I feel like it's a little bit early for them to be making another push, right? Cat Turd, just so you know, they keep charging Trump with BS to take the focus off Joe and Hunter Biden's extortion, bribery, and treason. It's cute that you think that the government is that coordinated, but the reality is that these insane prosecutors have been pursuing these things for a really, really long time, and we're going to be doing them regardless of whether or not, Biden's son was creating headlines, and I really think that it's just a coincidence. You think Step Up Buyer disappeared? You might be right, because they stepped up and then it fell back. Hasn't really resolved itself, like it's still in the same area, but they were definitely giving us reasons to question it, isn't it? But I mean, I kind of feel like it's giving us reasons to question on both sides. So I am still seeing a gentle amount of buying pressure from the market orders, right? So I don't think that it would take very much for it to be game on, but we'll see. See if they actually go for it. I'm going to clear these ones. I usually don't clear my other DOMs other than the 10-year, but I'm going to clear those as well, so that I can keep track of if they're breaking a new high or not, and if there's like stops there, right? Because I don't think that you can predict very well if there's going to be a higher high or higher low, or where it's going to turn around and stuff. But you usually can see if it does break a new higher high, you tend to see some interesting things in the order flow around there. So I want to kind of keep track of where that was. What is ZB? ZB is the 30-year bond future. Well, they're touching the high again in the Treasury. I'm still seeing I'm seeing a little bit of moderation in the market orders, and so far they don't seem to have the juice to make another push, so... We may be in a position where, you know, we really are in a quiet summer market, but there is somebody trying to push it up. You know, because it seems like it's not, they don't have to do very much to get much of a reaction from this thing. Trading FOMC, elevate your trading playbook for successful FOMC hour strategies. Well, I don't know if the super... I mean, a lot of it comes down to keywords, right? But, so the thing I find interesting about your suggestions, Jerry, is that you're saying that FOMC might be a better term. That may be true. Maybe pushing that it's interest rate federal FOMC day. Although I don't know if that's really a very... Well... it may be good that it's not a very well searched term. Because if anybody does go on YouTube and searches for FOMC, I will almost certainly pop up. Right? I have a question. If I want to use a setup that has footprint, do I need to sign up to NinjaTrader from your website, or do I need something more for footprint? Okay, so if you want to use footprint in NinjaTrader, probably you want to have the full version license for NinjaTrader, because you can use like NinjaTrader for free and you just can't submit orders. And then there's like different, like with NinjaTrader brokerage, they have a bunch of different options, but one of the options is to buy the full license for $1,000, I think it is. And then that comes with all of their order flow tools, and they have a footprint in it. Okay. But if you're doing the free version, there are free footprints out there for NinjaTrader as well. So you might need to do a little legwork to go and find a suitable one that you like to download and install. But there are some free ones out there in the community for NinjaTrader. I wanted to add FOMC trading playbook edge returns as keywords. Well, I might try that. Let's see here. Oh, hey, yeah, it didn't go any at all against you. That's good. Oh, but you closed it. Still, that's really good. Well, wait, you got 8 ticks on it. Wow. That's really is quite impressive, Uzi. I am very, very impressed. You know, what impresses me is the point at which you took it, because I was really quite unsure about what was going on at that time, right? Now, on the split side, if I had not given up on my original trade, I would be up on it now, right? So... I guess I should have had more faith in myself. I don't know. But then the one where I really stick to it, they go like against me like super hardcore, right? But yeah, you did close it, which I'm also find interesting. It's like doing all of these things that make me think that it's gonna go and breach new highs, and now it's kind of fizzling out again. Oh my gosh, I didn't notice that. So yesterday I was like reading my phone in the bed, and the baby came over and just decided to smack my phone and smack it into my face, and it's left a little bruise here. And I saw that last night, and I'm like, oh, that is like an actual bruise on my nose. But I didn't think that it would show up on this, but I can see it and it bothers me. That's how much you're confident you are. Well, but like that's kind of like I don't know. The thing that I'm getting at is that clearly the reason that you took that trade was very different and must have been based on something that you thought you saw you were seeing in the order flow. Because from my perspective, if it doesn't blow the top, it wasn't really worth me getting back into the trade. Because my thinking here is that there is a large meta order out there that is eventually going to push us. And that the Japanese yen may be out there doing some stuff, or China, or some currency thing that will come and push us a little bit later. Well, you got a lot more ground to cover in the 10-year. Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, 8 ticks in ZN is really good, right? You remember those times where it was like, it seemed like any time that I got more than 10 ticks, it would completely come back on me. And so, like, if I didn't take the 10 ticks profit, I didn't get anything from it. And meanwhile, I'm seeing all of these trades that go like 16, 24 ticks, and I keep missing them. Ooh, that was really frustrating stuff before the pandemic. Joe Manchin has a statement on the 1-year anniversary of the signing of the Reduction Inflation Act. Oh my gosh, that's a terrible... I don't know if I'd be pushing that one, Joe, but okay. It sure does look like, for the time being, though, that it's just kind of doing the market maker thing, doesn't it? It would be better for the country if there were more people elected office that would speak truth to their constituents. Probably not, because all that would happen is they would just vote you out. No, I want to respond to that one. No, it's a Forbes article. Never mind. If it was just a senator, tweeting, I would have responded to him now, because then you'll just get voted out of office. On a different stream, you said you don't use footprint for more because it doesn't. Yeah, so. There's not like an order book in Forex. It's just over-the-counter trades between banks. So you can't actually read order flow in Forex. You can just see the prices from the last bank trades. Dollar seems to be resting. Yeah, I don't know. So the dollar definitely has settled down here. The treasury, the cumulative delta, I would say, is mostly flat since getting up here. But I do kind of feel like some hints in the way that the level 2 behaves that they want to go to the upside. But that may just be wishful thinking on my part, right? We are starting to get into the time period where I feel that if there is another meta order, that it will happen. And it's been quiet here for long enough that I feel fairly comfortable, right? Because if you really wanted to screw things up and push things the other way, you would have done it immediately after the meta order. So it's settling here says that either they're just going to rest here forever and like the action is over, or another leg will come in and push us up, right? That's kind of how I'm gaming it out in my mind at the moment. But it seems like I did catch that one fast enough that I should be able to scratch it and make back most of the loss from the first trade. If not, make some money on this in the end. But we'll see. See, like, they are able to come up there and touch that high. It's just so far they've been unwilling to reach the 31.5. It looks like they did finally trade my 10 ticks, so that's cool. But we want to see if if they do trade through it, if you start to get more of this, volume comes in really aggressively long and people stopping out and so forth. Hanging out up here definitely bodes well for us pushing, but maybe we don't actually get the fireworks we want, right? What market is, well, I don't know. The thing is that there's no explicit advantage in the footprint that you can't get in another tool that I know of. And so I can't imagine what market would be better to watch the footprint in. I suppose that the footprint would be really useful in a market where a lot of stuff happens when you're not there, right? Like if, for instance, we could trade China bonds, right? If that market was opened up and we had Chinese bond futures and we were trading those as well, then I would think I would find the footprint really useful, because I would really want to know what was actually happening during the Chinese session when there was probably more action, And I wouldn't be able to completely sort out what was happening without. And of course, it wouldn't be as good as watching the DOM at the time, but it would be better than nothing. Okay, so they did touch 110 even and push through even a little bit. 3,000 contracts. I wouldn't say fireworks, but it's going okay. It's going okay, isn't it? And we are getting another leg of the meta order almost exactly on time. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. Oh, this is a good point. In 10 minutes, we get oil inventories. Now, bear in mind that we just made that move to touch new highs by a tick or two. The dollar's not actually moving, so. But we definitely got about 3,000 to 4,000 net contracts along, so I think that we do have enough evidence to suggest that there is a large meta order in the markets. It's unclear how far they will push, though, right? This one is not as aggressive and like slipping through as I was hoping for, right? It's been pretty gentle about it so far. Okay, now I'm seeing reloading at 110, but that's at 110, so that kind of, I don't know. That's kind of rare that happens, that you come up to 110 and then it's like at the high and you get reloading. But I would always expect to see a lot of trade happen at a really round number. Otherwise, it's like you're having a trend up and you see reloading, that often results in a stop run higher. Right? We can't watch that that behavior like an iceberg right there at 110 to say, okay, that means that we're likely to move higher. But if we have a prediction about what the flows are going to be, then we can kind of make those kinds of predictions. And with the prediction that I'm making, that is absolutely the sort of flow that you would probably see. So that seeing that iceberg there is in line with my thesis. Okay, 5-year ticked up at least. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so as they ticked up, about 1,500 contracts almost immediately hit up into it. So like those bids actually followed it up quite nicely, but they were able to sell it back down. So there a lot of stuff just happened there, right? Why do I always say right at the end of my sentences? Does that bother you guys when I do that? And now another tick down. That was a really interesting sequence of events. That usually doesn't happen that quickly. To see the bids follow up with it so aggressively, but the market sellers still able to overcome it. That's a little interesting. I mean, it's only 1,500 contracts, but I found that really interesting sequence of events. And it's kind of in line with our thesis, but it's kind of not. Because our thesis, we should see those bids stack aggressively and absorb a lot, but they shouldn't be coming back 3 ticks. I mean, I don't know if 3 ticks is a huge deal, but it would be better if they didn't pull back 3 ticks, right? Joseph Wang, higher bill yields didn't just drain the reverse repo facility, it also drained the foreign RP pool, basically an RRP for foreign central banks. It's down by 100 billion in a few months. Now the 5-year is still pressing. Is the 5-year going to drag them? It looks like the 30-year is kind of dragging its feet. So are we getting like a bull steepener here? I don't know about this one. What that means is that the spread is not necessarily in our favor at the moment. If we were going the other way, it could be, but how many trades this week? I don't remember. I didn't trade it yesterday, but I did trade it on Monday, didn't I? So I think that this is 3. I don't know if these 2 actually count, though, because so far it's turning out into a scratch. Well, that tick was good. There's the 5-year is pushing now. Oh, and the 30-year is catching up now. I'm probably getting too excited. Every time I see that 5-year at 050, and I'm like, oh, are they going to trade a new high? So there's nothing I love more than to see a new high or a low and then see tons of stops get triggered. Those are my favorite. Scratches are still considered a good trade. I guess I should consider them a good trade. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. I usually just find them frustrating, though. Ooh. Oh, come on. I thought they were going for it because couple of orders did kind of slip through there at 05. Oh, no, they took it up, but it just didn't hold. Okay, that was a pretty good hold. So that time the market orders did try to hit back, but those bids were really solid. So that was a really, really strong tea leaf long right there. Yeah. And then another uptick. That's good. That's real good. Will there be a risk off in indexes? I don't know. I don't know if what's going on here has anything to do relevance to indexes or not. So far, what we're seeing right now seems to be relatively contained to the treasuries. You know, like what got us into this initially was the dollar coming back down there and everything. But now it's just like the treasuries just continue to squeeze. So I should note that the 5-year made like 2 new ticks high. They haven't in the 10-year yet. Well, it has looked strong. You know, there has been quite a bit of pullbacks and stuff. It hasn't been the cleanest trade. So I remain vigilant. Dude, so the other day I saw this tick. Oh, wait, here's oil. Let's follow the oil here real quickly. Sounds like it's a draw. Yep, it's a draw on the forecast. They're doing reloading again. Okay, so it is a draw. I don't know. The oil's not reacting to it too strongly, though. Nick Timmeros tweets, Home Depot CEO Ted Decker said inflation in product and transportation costs is coming down. Supplier requests for price increases are, quote, negligible. Net new requests for costs and certainly cost increases in the supply chain, that's completely abated. Interesting piece of information for Nick Timmeros to tweet about for us. And the 10-year is back at 110 even. I don't know. I've definitely seen some ticks and some points in here where I felt like the upticks were incredibly strong and the stacking was incredibly strong and so forth. So it does seem like they're being awfully wishy-washy considering some of the strong or level 2 signals that we've gotten. And I should also note that the cumulative delta is still kind of a little bit questionable. It's definitely coming in on the 5-year, but not so much on the 10-year. So, I'm not so sure I can conclusively say that my thesis was proven right. We may just be getting lucky here. You know, like Uzi got out. He hasn't really missed out on a whole lot, has he? Offers look a little flighty. What's with that only 1,500 at 01.5? That's a little unusual. That last uptick, the uptick looked more like a correlation change. We are seeing the dollar move a little bit here too, by the way. Moving back up. Yeah. So I'm seeing a little bit of ticking back and forth at 10 and maybe some signs of liquidity hole here now, in fact. A reasonable amount has traded there. Big offer at 05. I don't know, I'm not quite sure what to think of this. You know, because there was a point there where I was like, oh, look at this. I'm totally right. It's moving exactly when I said it was. It looks really strong here. And it kind of only moved up like one step and then has kind of done nothing. Wow, Scott McAfee, the judge for the Trump case in Georgia, has only been judged for 6 months? Talk about pressure. Well, I'm feeling super quiet. That makes me wonder if I'm not feeling so good about this anymore, right? Gonna take the 5, I guess. You know what? It's okay. I think there was a lot of good things about that trade, right? I didn't get as much out of it as I wanted, but you know, so in the end, -5 on the day. I guess 7 if you count like the commissions and stuff. But you know, we had a good opportunity there. If it really had been our scenario, that could have been like a really big trade. So you know, I can focus on the positive, right? Could have managed it a little better. I could have avoided the first one, you know, and then I probably would have gotten $20, but oh well. Yeah, look at that. I'd be right back at break even now, so and it does look like they're eventually giving in. Like the dollar started to come back pretty strongly here, and like the treasuries are giving in. as it happens. So kind of sitting here like, okay, what next? But I kind of feel like I just want to watch this for a little bit longer. Be in the zone. I mean, there is an iceberg there at 30. I won't take another trade. Also, it's really hot in here today. What's with that? Uptick. And now I'm thinking they might go back to the 10 where I would have had plus 10 ticks. But I'm starting to see this more as not the meta order that I was looking for, but perhaps the market makers faking it somehow. Just doesn't speak to me the way that it did before. Yep, there it is. I mean, I still have support in the delta for it being long, but it's not behaving the way that I was predicting, right? It kind of behaved enough long for me to get excited about it, but they did not like bust through or anything. So I think that taking the exit where I did is okay. I don't know if I don't know. Now that I've given up on it, they're going to go, right? That's the way it usually goes. We can't let Seth catch the ride. Otherwise, you know, he'll become too powerful. Well, I understand your concern, Mr. Market Maker, but you know that you can't stop me, right? In the end, if I know something, I know something. But not today. One says, how do they reconstruct the trade? Whoa. There was like, they were creeping up just enough to try and trick, get people going into long, and then they let it collapse all the way back down again. What was with that? Oh, and the dollar is coming back pretty strong too. Yeah, that looks like market maker shenanigans to me, guys. I think this is the nice thing about like trading like the meta orders is like, if you're right, what you see happen is like really clear. And so if you're not seeing it, you just get out. There's no reason to be in it. You feel like you left a few ticks on the table? But again, like if it's just market maker shenanigans, we should be happy with anything that we got, right? To have gotten 8 ticks off of that is amazing. So incredibly. I mean, you have to be a little bit of luck involved in that, right? That's just like you don't catch it that well during market maker shenanigans like that every day. For sure. Oh, you got to the front of the queue? That never happened. Oh, that's interesting. It's too bad that we didn't catch the earlier lows though when the dollar really first started moving and stuff, right? I probably, if I had been a little bit more vigilant, could have gotten a much better price than 4.2, right? And then it would have been a little bit easier for me. That's my shining char in terms of luck. I can definitely think of trades that both of us have had that were like really crazy, right? Because I can remember some of these where it was like crazy volatile action and somehow you still caught the high and the low of the move and stuff like that. Every once in a while, the market will get into this mode where the level 2 just gives you really clear signals and they go with them every time. It's kind of hard to tell when it's in that mode, but when it is, it's magical, you know? Like I think the one, like I still have dreams about this, was when we had that that algo crash in 2018, right? That one was wild because I was coming in there and trading with one lot and getting them like almost perfect, where it was getting like 16 ticks favorable and maybe not even one ticket adverse excursion and stuff, and it just kept doing it over and over and over again because there was just like nobody else was in the market. Oh man. That's where I kind of realized, like, oh, you know what? Like, being at the front of the queue is a huge advantage. By the way, did you guys catch there when I was thinking about getting in again? I put an order out there because there was a spread, and as soon as I put the order out there, they ticked down 2 ticks. So I canceled it and they came back up. I'm telling you, I really think that the market makers and the micros react to your orders, because I don't think I've ever had a situation where you know, I really had the direction right, you know, and like the timing right as well. Like it was ready to go, and I was able to get filled on a limit order, right? Like if I put that limit order out there, they're not going to hit it. They're searching for liquidity. I don't know. You know what? I think it's just random. I think it's just random, dude. I think there was something. Well, so let's try and analyze. Let's analyze. Oh, okay. That's somebody else's thing. I won't steal it. So we did have this move right here that was preceded by quite a dramatic move in the dollar, right? So I think that what happened is there was some degree of a meta order to get us up to here, but it wasn't a super strong one, and it has fizzled out. So in my mind, basically everything from here on has been market making noise, right? And so in this situation, the market, you know, they don't have to quote search for liquidity. They're just putting up their bids and offers based on the correlated instrument, and it just kind of goes around in a range randomly. You know, to me, searching for liquidity is, I'm a large market order and I need to buy, and I'm looking for more contracts to buy, and if they're not here, then I might have to push us up higher, right? But I think you might be saying that because you're kind of taking terminology and stuff from auction theory. This is where I bailed at, actually. So I could say get back in and try and get the other 5, but I do kind of suspect. So one thing that we could think about here is the euro. So I'm gonna bet you that the guys in London are probably overall short and a little disappointed with how much they've made so far today. So they could be, you know, that could be some of this action. I don't know if that's actually long or short. I guess if they were short, they would be buying, but I'm just saying that maybe after 30 minutes, there might be, things might shift a little bit. And then we'll see if there's another opportunity for us to see maybe a little bit of a move in the treasuries. And if we don't, then I probably am, you know, it's not going to do anything today, right? But for me, you know, it was an interesting day. I really have to thank you guys, the audience, because we had a lot of good stuff to talk about today, especially at the beginning of the stream. So, you know, I think today's stream was a success. I think that there was a lot of good action to show you in terms of like things that kind of happened, even if the trade kind of fizzled out and didn't get very far. So, let's say markets revert back to summer, quiet summer. This is one of the things that I find so surprising, I think is the word, is that like when we're in the low volatility regime in terms of seasonality, when we're in those low volatility seasonality periods, you know, there can definitely be things that happen that cause the market to wake up and a lot of trade to happen. And so then you kind of get all excited because the volatility tends to cluster and you think that it will carry through. But like they can just clamp down on the volatility and return back to that super quiet summer market. It's just like that, you know, because it's just like the meta order turns off and then nothing happens, right? I think that's what happened to us today. It's like we did have a meta order, but it wasn't a big enough one for us to really make a whole lot from it. So that's okay. And maybe could have, you know, and that's where if I had caught my spots a little bit better, I would have made some more, but you know, it's all kind of sixes. So I will see you guys tomorrow though, Thursday. We still got some more stuff to come this week. So I'll see you guys then. In the meantime, stay excellent, team.